Welcome back, everyone, to another Big Brain gameplay lecture where we talk about terrorism and play XCOM 2. Today, we are going to talk about terrorist financing, right? How do terrorists get their money? Why is that important for us to know? And what are some of the problems about trying to track and control that money? We're going to learn all about that and more on today's Big Brain. So why don't you come along and let's get our class handed to us. Let us turn to the game, actually, because this is probably boring. You're just looking at my face. This isn't a just chatting. This is a gameplay. So let's get into it. First thing that we're going to talk about is why is terrorist financing an important area of study? Why do we need to know it, right? Well, the reason being is because terrorists need money. We are, as we have discussed before on this program, go back and watch the other videos. They're somewhere up there. Go back and watch those lessons and then come back here and we'll talk about financing is important for running a organization, whether you consider yourselves terrorists or whether you consider yourselves freedom fighters. And as we have done in the game here, we have been rewarded with supplies. Supplies is the monetary is the money in the game.
Today, Junior!
These supplies are useful to us to purchase things. We need things, right? You need to buy things. You need to pay for things. And as we do this, incoming perfect, a mission, great. Terrorist organizations need to pay for things. Now, this is a mission. What are we doing? Operation Dripping Justice. An awful name. for an mission, but it's what we're going to get into. Terrorists need to pay for things so that they may go on missions such as these. For terrorist organizations, freedom fighter organizations, which is what we consider ourselves, but the Advent, the aliens in the game, the people we are fighting, they consider us terrorists. But we need money. And money to carry out operations such as Operation Dripping Justice. It's just a terrible name. It's a bad name. Jesus, they should fire whoever thinks the names of these things. We need money for gear and weapons, right? So like if we launch this mission, see all of these soldiers that we have, what do we need to pay for? Well, we need to pay for, the big old guns that they have. These drones, they're expensive. That's a big gun. Grenades are very expensive. The training of all of these individuals, right? But even more than that, we need gear, we need food, we need supplies, we need overhead, such as bribing individuals in order to smuggle people and stuff in and out of countries or restricted areas, right? That is what money is for, and that's why terrorists need it. So this is one of the reasons we need to track it, is because it will help us fight terrorism by knowing where that money goes. Pay for Guile's haircut. We do. We need to pay for Guile's haircut here. That haircut ain't cheap. He's not going to like sports clips for that, right? That's some high quality shit right there. One of there are three ways that we look at money with regards to terrorists. And that is the need to acquire money, the need to secure money, and the need to distribute that money. All right, those are the three areas that if you were investigating or tracking money, you would need to look into, because each organization is going to do it differently. And the reason they're going to do it differently is because based upon the size of that organization, there's going to be a couple different considerations that you're going to need. So depending upon the size of the organization, you're going to have different considerations based upon those three categories: the procurement of funds, the securing of funds, and the distribution of funds. First of all, right, depending upon the size of the organization, the amount of money that you're going to need to acquire is going to be vastly different. An operation like this, such as XCOM, is probably going to need a hell of a lot more money than, some podunk operation that just operates out of like Alabama, right? Like the 3%ers or something like that. Or like some sort of lone wolf terrorist that we talked about back in last week's episode. They're probably just going to need, a couple $100 maybe, depending upon the type of attack that they want to. No, I don't want to extract all units. Can I? No, I don't want to fire the weapon. Stop it. Why aren't you working? Okay, there it is. Whew, I don't know what the hell that was. We need to extract everybody to up here, which means there's probably going to be bad guys around here, which is fine.
Rob had no way of knowing just how right he was about to be.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start moving some people. So the amount of money that XCOM is going to need is going to be much bigger than you know, a smaller organization. Second, the need for legitimacy. Some organizations like to hide the fact that, you know, they're terrorist organizations. Just off the top of my head, Hezbollah or Hamas, right? They, in certain instances, like to perform as legitimate organizations. Non-governmental organizations is what they call themselves. Basically performing governmental duties, but not as a government in like war-torn or failed states, war-torn areas or failed states. XCOM doesn't need that air of legitimacy because it is actively fighting against the Advent. So we wouldn't need to worry about that here. The security of your assets is another thing to consider based upon, yeah, you're the big boy, you're going to go up far. Based upon the size of the organization and the amount of money that you have, right? The more money you have, the greater the need for security. And of course, you know, depending upon where you're operating. If you're operating in a friendly country, maybe the need for security isn't as great. However, if you're operating in an unfriendly country, much like we are here, the need for operational security and security of your assets is going to be a much greater need. Can we go inside this building? Probably. We may be able to go. Maybe I should send my sniper up there so that they have, you know, eyes.
Not made of eyes.
Your sources of income are going to be different too, depending upon a slew of factors. These sources of income, though, depending upon, again, that where you're operating, who you're operating against, the size of your organization. Maybe you need to hide them. Maybe they're going to be different. And we'll talk about sources of income in a second. The ability to control your resources will be a factor. Like I said, if you're in a friendly country, maybe you have a great ability to control resources. Whereas if, we're going to move the sniper up first. Can you go up here, buddy? Yes, you can. That would have been funny if there was like a bad guy right there. Oh, we can go all the way up. But no, I think what we're going to do is, yeah, just move right here. Oh, shit. Fuck. That's not what I wanted. Oh, and you're just all alone. Can you join? You can. All right. So he ran away inside. All right, we're going to do some combat first, and then we'll continue talking. Because we do not have the ability to control any resources right now because we got found out. Maybe what I'll do is... Oh, you are not good right now. I know what we can do. Because like I talked about previously, the solution to everyone's problems are grenades. We're going to blow out a wall and kill this person, hopefully. If everything goes according to plan, we'll see what happens. Yes! That's one down. This guy's still alive. So we're just going to need to run up this way. There we go. Yeah. Do this, and what we can do is put you on Overwatch. I can hack that. I don't know what it does. Aid protocol. Bonus to defense until the start. Yes, this person. Because they are way out in the open. While I move our last guy, the last consideration you need to make is the simplicity of your financial system, right? Again, a lone wolf is probably going to have a really simple financial system because it's just their bank account or the money that they store under their mattress.
Dude.
Whereas XCOM is probably going to have a fairly complex financial system with all of the salaries and income streams and all of that they need to pay for. So those are the considerations that you're going to need to make when it comes to the finances of a terrorist organization. You're going to do this, and then you're also going to be placed on Overwatch. Oh, fuck. God damn it. That's some shit is what that is. Miss your shit. Oh, I don't... Oh no, you're panicked. That's great. Yes, do your business. And you missed. Goddamn rookies. Can you go down? You can. We have to solve this situation. Oh boy. Okay. Well, before we talk about the methods of financing. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Fuck me, Overwatch. Ah, you piece of shit. Now I'm gonna kill you. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm with a pistol. Why can't you have a beefy ass sniper rifle? Alright, if you miss, That's some shit, is what that is. Before we fire, we're gonna see if the rookie can maybe make up for some of his mistakes. I'm gonna do this. Come on, blast through that window like Guile would. And we didn't even see it.
Cool guys don't look at explosions. They blow things up and then walk away.
We need to kill this person. Too close to our scientist. Fucking do it. Nice. We're dropping this guy point blank. As we continue, we'll see if it works. But there's a chance that he may miss. Yeah, boom, drop, blast through the door, and then see 87%. There's a chance he can miss. And if he does, we're screwed. What did I say? They're going after the panicked guy again. Oh no, Guile. Aha, mine's been resisted. All right, so methods of financing. How do terrorist organizations get financed? Well, we have to categorize these. We have to categorize these financing in two ways: reanimated. Excuse me? They killed him dead. We're gonna put you here, and if you don't kill this person, I swear to God. Lit him up. First of all, there are illegal and legal ways that terrorist organizations can be funded. Illegal ways can basically be described simply as crime. It's all they need to do is commit crime, right? So if we wanted to acquire funding in illegal ways, one of those ways would be to, maybe perform a raid on our enemy. Smuggling of resources, right? Did you know actually one of the more profitable things to smuggle for a terrorist organization is actually baby formula and cigarettes? It's not like they're smuggling weapons, which is something that they can smuggle, but smuggling baby formula and cigarettes is extremely profitable. Robbing, or what the Che Guevara coined as expatriation, right? Can't say the word, Jesus Christ.
Well, we're waiting.
Expropriation, which is basically, kind of like Robin Hooding your supplies. Guile, it's up to you, buddy. Right here. Right here's good. Do not miss. Nice. Other ways. Fraud, right? Securities fraud, that the Nigerian prince scam on an email, that is something that is used quite often, actually. Extortion, name a crime. And that's probably a way that a terrorist organization raises funds. But that's not interesting, honestly. The more interesting way for terrorist organizations to earn money is through legal methods, actually. And I'm just going to rattle off a little bit of a list. Legal methods of sourcing income. Soliciting, owning businesses, charities, informal money systems, and banks. Now, what do I mean by a couple of those, right? Soliciting, literally just asking for money.
Money, please.
Like going on Patreon or doing what I'm doing. Like, oh, please donate to our cause, right? That's legitimately a way that terrorist organizations earn money. They have donors. They have people who support their cause and are willing to give money to them, especially those with a fairly large diaspora, which is a fun word to say. Owning businesses if they are in a friendly country or a friendly area, of course they're going to probably be able to own businesses. Charities, now this can be legitimate charities that are giving money to a cause, and the terrorist organization is more so seen as freedom fighters by the vast majority of the world. But also, it can be that charities are acting more so as a front, but that would then be on the illegal side of things. Informal money systems actually gets us towards our last kind of topic for the lesson today, which has to do with the problems of tracking money and trying to secure the finances of terrorists, right? Because what an informal money system is something such as what is called the Hawala system, right? Or the black market peso exchange that is used in South America by some of the drug organizations, drug dealing outfits, or major criminal organizations down in South America. And what these systems work is basically it's a way to transfer money across borders without actually transferring money. And it's usually done on kind of like an honor system sort of thing. if I knew somebody in this country who had a connection to maybe, so actually we're going to use something that's kind of relevant to the world today if you're watching this video as it comes out. Say the Taliban, right, who has taken over Afghanistan. However, there is currently a resistance being fought in Afghanistan against the Taliban. Say that I know somebody who is related to one of those resistance fighters, but they live in the U.S. and they own a business in the U.S. and they have a cousin who owns a business in one of the contested regions in Afghanistan. And I kind of want to fund that resistance movement. Well, what I can do is I can go and contact that friend, that business owner. Woo! Rating, excellent. Nice. I can contact that business owner and say, hey, give this money. I can just give them a bunch of money, hundreds to thousands of dollars, and say, I want this money to go to the resistance.
Here's something for your trouble. It's money.
Well, basically what they'll do is they'll take like an IOU from me. Well, they take the money from me and then contact their friend who's living in the contested region and say, I have X amount of money from, FD escrow, and they want to give it to whomever. And so that business owner will take from their own pocket and give to the resistance, knowing full well that when the time comes, they will be able to get a transfer from their friend in the US. And that's a way of transferring money from one country to another without actually having to transfer money. It's actually a system that's in use fairly often for fairly benign means as well, which brings us into the final topic for today, and that is problems with regards to tracking and controlling informal finances. And what are those problems? First of all, the biggest problem goes to the fact that we've talked about this before. Terrorists aren't equivalent to criminals. Their finances cannot be equated, cannot be like a one-to-one thing. Criminals, right, they need to launder their money, right? They need money so that they can purchase stuff. Whereas terrorist organizations, they need money to continue to fund their operation, right? Criminals go out and get money and then buy normal things with it. Terrorists get money to go buy illegal things. So the kind of regular sort of theories with regards to tracing money doesn't work for terrorist organizations, especially when it comes to like laundering money, because terrorist organizations sometimes don't care if their money looks dirty because they're buying dirty things anyways. Whereas criminals need their money to look legitimate. In fact, the opposite sometimes happens, in which terrorist organizations accept clean money and then dirty it to make it look like it's not coming from like a legitimate source. That is the first problem. The second problem goes back to the fact that not all organizations are deemed terrorists by every nation in the world, right? So we're going to use the game as an example here, right? The Advent presumably controls most of the world, but say that there is a portion that they don't control, right? Say, I don't know, the Norwegian area up here, Sweden and Denmark and Norway and all that. Well, to them, we are not terrorists, but to the Advent, we are terrorists. If you're trying to get a global sort of financial system in place that confronts terrorism and tries to control their finances, well, not everybody in the world is going to agree on whose finances should be controlled. So that it basically goes back to the biggest problem, or one of the biggest problems with tracking financing, is that, it goes back to the definition of terrorism, is that it is in the eye of the beholder. And then finally, with regards to tracking of financing, the biggest thing here, the biggest problem, is that big countries want to try to interfere with informal money systems. One, because they don't understand them, and two, because they presume that they're linked to terrorism. The second is understandable. The first is kind of inexcusable. Most big countries like to meddle in little countries' affairs. But the problem is that rarely ends well. The source of that is just kind of look to what's happening currently in the world over in Afghanistan with the Taliban, right? These informal money systems sometimes are the backbone of these growing economies. And when, a big country like the US or Britain or France comes in and says, you can't do that anymore, well, we fuck their system, to put it bluntly. And that causes illegitimate and, unlawful activities to kind of rise in the area. Whereas like sometimes it's these informal systems and these black market operations, which make up about $500 billion every year, right? It produces $500 billion in gross domestic product. That's larger than the economy of Norway and Belgium, right? Norway or Belgium. That's huge, right? That's a lot of money that flows throughout these kind of like informal systems. And the big countries are like, you should stop that. Well, when big countries step in on little countries, problems occur. And that's what we're going to continue to talk about as we continue in this series. You're going to notice that a lot of the times that terrorist organizations pop up, it's usually because some big country was meddling in some little country's affairs. So we will continue that next time on the Big Brain Stream. Terrorist financing is a confusing subject. However, it is useful to know because it does help us try to control finances. It helps us reduce the ability of terrorist organizations to strike, while also trying to kind of create a more globalized economy that is supposed to benefit all. However, there are some problems with it, and terrorist organizations are fairly diversified in their portfolios, so it's fairly difficult to track. But that being said, we will continue to talk about terrorist organizations while playing XCOM 2 here on the Big Brain. So please, if you like this content, if you like these discussions, please hit subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. And we film these discussions every Monday night over at twitch.tv/FPScra. So please go follow over there. As for now, I have been your professor, FPScra. Thank you for joining me. Class dismissed.